Hello and welcome to MyFusion Helper. My name is Troy Broussard, and this short video is going to show you how to use our IP redirect helper. Now, IP stands for Internet Protocol. It is your IP address for the computer. And this is a very simple helper that merely takes you from one URL and redirects you to another. But in the middle of that redirection, it also gathers a bunch of data, including your IP and time zone information. Now, in this short little video, I'm going to walk through and show you how to use this in Infusionsoft. And so I'll give you a demo of exactly how it works. I'm also going to show you how to set it up inside of our app. And then lastly, I'm going to conclude with some examples and practical uses for it and how we're using it and some of our top clients are using it in their businesses right now. All right, so let's dive right in. Okay, first things first, let's come in and create a new helper. So we click on the Create New Helper and we just start typing IP and it'll go right into the IP redirect or get the IP address. And we can put in a name here. And I'm just going to use that for IP redirect to myfusionhelper.com. And we'll go ahead and create the helper. Now, if these forms don't show on your screen, as this is the case in mine, you just scroll down, okay? So they're designed to move and scroll. Now, I'm going to show you a bunch of things here, but you don't have to implement all of these, okay? So it's really your option. I know that some people are really cautious about burning their custom fields, that you only get 99 of them, so you've got to be careful and judicious with that, and I totally get that. The purpose of this video is to show you the possibilities. How you choose to implement it is really up to you. So I've gone ahead and created some custom fields here where I'm going to store the IP address, and then I can also, because from that IP address we're going to look up where this person is, we can automatically store their country, we can go ahead and store their state, and then we can store their city and zip code. All of that information can be automatically populated in Infusionsoft. Now, this doesn't give you a street address, of course, for mailing, but it does give you a lot of other good demographic data that we can use. Now, beyond that, we can also store the latitude and longitude. Now, I know, many of you say, well, what the heck is that any good for? But let me tell you, if you're not familiar with our Google Sheets integration, then you definitely want to check that out. And passing the latitude and longitude over to Google Sheets literally allows us to map real time on a map and show on the map of the world of where your person is located. And that can be very useful for real-time displays and booths and things like that, to give people that visual graphical feedback. So we can use that, and that's why it's in there. We can also store the time zone, and then we can also store the time zone offset. Okay, so I'm going to put both of those in there, and then you'll see how that looks inside of Infusionsoft and where you might use that differently. Okay, now lastly, remember, all this is going to do is redirect someone from one location to another. Okay, and I'll talk about the uses of that in a minute, but really we're using it just as an excuse to pull up all of this information from where they came from. Okay, and so here is just the destination of where you want to send them. So perhaps this would be your thank you page. In our case here, I'm just going to use our main domain name, and I'm going to set this up as a link that I can send out to, as I send out email blasts. When somebody clicks on it and they want to check out our site, it'll automatically populate all of this knowledge about their demographics into our app as well. All right, so I'm going to go ahead and create that helper. And now we've got the helper here. Now there's two ways of copying the link. You can copy the link to put into the HTTP post snippet in Infusionsoft, or you can copy the link here. Most times in this particular scenario, you're going to use just the email link. So if you grab this little email link here to the side and we copy that, it'll give you a little copied indication, and that's all we need to do. Now we've got the link copied. Now, we switch over here into Infusionsoft, and I'm just going to pull up one of my records here and kind of show you that it doesn't have any demographic information in here right now. So you notice that the city state zip is all empty. Okay, so all of that is unpopulated. And now if we look at the demographic data as well here for the custom fields, you'll see that the IP, the longitude and latitude, time zone, offsets, all of that is null as well. So now what we can do is with that contact, I'm just going to send a really simple test email. So I'm going to just do this is an IP redirect test, and I'm going to paste in that link that I was given. Now, clearly, you might want to do that a little better. You'll probably be using it in Campaign Builder, and you'll probably hide this big, long, ugly link, set it up as a campaign link, etc. But for purposes of this demo, this is sufficient to show you it working. So then we go ahead and press send. That's going to send that out to me. And then we're going to go in and log into Google and pull that information down. Okay, so now we see that we've got the alert here in the inbox. So we'll come over here and pull this in, and we can see that we just got the email, and here's the link. Now, when I click on this link, it's just going to operate as normal as any other link, and it's going to take me here to my Fusion Helper. That's the destination that we sent it to. But what I really want to show you is the magic that it did behind the scenes. Okay, so let's come back into here, and let's pull up the contact, and we can go in here now. And you notice this is all real time. There's no pause or edit there. And it's already got all of my information in here. So it knows, and this is accurate. So it pulled up my city here in Windermere and got my zip code correct and all of that demographic data correct. And then if we go over to demographics, you can see that it did get my IP. And just to show you that that is the right IP, if I go to what is my IP address, okay, then you can see 184.89, 151, 107. And if we go back to that contact, you'll see that's exactly what it is. So all that worked very nicely. It shows and stores my latitude and longitude. It shows the time zone in a textual format, and then it also shows it in a numeric offset. So this is an offset from GMT time, so that you have the ability now with this offset to do little math functions or to do decision diamonds based on the offsets in it. Lots of different things that you could do with this, but we want to give you the numeric value as well as the textual representation. It's your choice. Again, you don't have to burn up all these custom fields if you don't need this data. Maybe all you need is the IP, and that's fine. So that's what I wanted to show you. Now let's go ahead and kind of continue on how we would put this to use, because this was a technical of, hey, here's how it works, here's how we do it in Infusionsoft. But now the real question is, why do we want this and what can we use it for? So if we take a look at some examples, then I think maybe this will start to make sense for you. First of all, one of the easiest ways to use this is after opt-in for your thank you page link. So you can create that link and use it as your thank you page link. And that way, everybody that opts in, you'll immediately start to collect that demographic information. Now, remember that one of those pieces of information was the time zone. And that's going to be very critical. Now, another way that you can do this is you can use that link in an email, just like I showed you, only you could use it in the campaign builder and hide the big, long, ugly link and make it a nice, pretty click here to download your report or whatever type of email you want, because you can redirect, right? So the real purpose here is a little bit of misdirection, right? We're using the link as a means to an end, right? We're still going to take them to the thank you page. We're still going to take them to the blog post or the video or whatever they're clicking to see, but we're going to route it through this IP redirect first so that we can gather all of that robust demographic data. Now, the reason that we really created this was to use this in conjunction with our time zone triggers. Now, our time zone triggers are covered in a separate video, but they will allow you to send out email at that particular user's local time, something that Infusionsoft should do, but unfortunately doesn't. So if you want to broadcast at 8 a.m. and you want it to be 8 a.m. on the Pacific coast or 8 a.m., in Mountain and Central and Eastern as well, then in order to do that, you need need to know where that person is. And so we use this IP redirect to store that data in Infusionsoft so that now when we go out and use our time zone triggers, we can pull that data in and now intelligently send out email at that person's local time zone. So that is the principal reason why this was developed and one of the principal benefits for it. That and the ability to pull up the lat and longitude on Google Sheets and display that information, which is also very critical. Now, lastly, there's another really good reason for having this data. The IP data is used a lot of times in credit card dispute transactions where the person is claiming that they never did something, and you can pull up the IP and address and show that it came from them at their location in their computer, and yes, indeed, they truly did this, right? That is something that is very valuable information to have as well, and Infusionsoft doesn't store the IP anywhere. So having that IP address stored into a custom field may be very useful for you in that you could then create custom merge, collection letter type stuff to forward on to your credit card companies when disputes are created or chargebacks or anything like that. All right, so hopefully that gives you a few examples. And if you have any questions, make sure and reach us at help@myfusionsolutions.com.